Hello, welcome to the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. On this month's program, we'll learn about an event that will help our mosquito control department stay up to date on technology. We will review the parish burning rules and regulations, and we will review a huge volunteer event for emergency response. We'll start with a look at the repair and restoration work high atop the historic 1912 Parish Courthouse. The ornate copper dome is now fully restored after sustaining serious damage in Hurricane Rita. The two-year project involved removing nearly all of the copper lining of the structure, repairing and reshaping the still usable portions, and then placing a combination of old and new copper on the dome structure. Ellender Architects of Sulphur spearheaded the project, which was paid for through insurance and FEMA funding. Now the classic structure is back to its original condition.
After the hurricane, major renovations were required, and we were pleased that the parish allowed us to do this. This is a very famous building in our area, a 1912 courthouse, designed by Favreau and Livaday out of New Orleans. And this building, some people may not know, this is a replica of a major development in Italy, and it was designed by Andre Palladio, who is well known as an architect back maybe in the 17th and 18th centuries.
Well, Rita came through with all of her fury, a lot of wind and stuff, and there were many pieces of the copper and stuff that made up the roof, all of the ornamental stuff. Many pieces were damaged, they were twisted, some of which had blown off. They were recovered and basically put in a position to where we could begin using those to reshape and stuff to put back on the roof once we started the project. We began by removing all of the old copper roof off and removing all of the rest of the ornamental copper off, the trim, the various decorative pieces, and then after which they were carried over to another location to where we began a refurbishing and reconditioning process. And while that was taking place, we began to remove the old copper roof off and expose the existing deck that was beneath. While that process was going on, they were back at the shops reconditioning, resoldering, putting everything back together. There were molds made because many of the pieces were actually damaged beyond repair. So we took the copper off of the old roof, cut it into squares, and we shaped those across the molds to make new pieces to put on the roof. And then once the new standing seam roof was in place, we began reattaching all of the old original copper pieces and all the ornate trim and everything that goes back on, and then began the patina process. It's a chemical process that is applied to the roof. It's basically an accelerant, and it accelerates that color process and gets it to that familiar green that we were so used to. So to get the color matched, it was a very long process.
The height of the dome structure, plus its unusual shape, made the physical aspects of the repair project quite complicated.
Well, the base of the flagpole, which represents the top of the dome, is approximately 85 feet off the ground. And with the dome being a segmented dome, it's only curved in one direction. Actually, when you look at it and view it from the top, it's an octagon. It's octagonal shaped. So they had to construct their scaffolding in a stepped fashion in an octagonal pattern. So it was a real challenge, and to stabilize that and the working platform that they needed for that elevation, it was tough. And there was a lot of days that it was very blustery up there. So working with those big sheets of copper and forming that to fit that curved roof was a real challenge for them.
The highly specialized copper work meant only a few firms in the entire country were capable of handling the project. Parish officials and the architects had high praise for the contractors.
We also had the Associated Design Group out of Lafayette that we've worked together with for a number of years, and Charles Ladner, our structural engineer here in Lake Charles. And then we were very pleased, and we were able to write specs that limited the work to people that have done major restoration across the country, particularly with domes and things of this nature. And the MCT group out of Katy, Texas, Mr. Cousins and his son, sort of a father and son team, took great pride in this and took a good while to do it, but did it very correctly.
It's very unique. It's the only one in the area, of course, and something for the parish to be really proud of, to have that sitting atop the courthouse. It's very, very unique, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed working on it.
The structure of the dome was reinforced so that hopefully it will withstand the winds of another hurricane like Rita. The courthouse, which is on the National Register for Historic Places, will celebrate its 100th birthday in 2012. With the spring and summer rainfall comes an annual invasion of mosquitoes. But the buzz you heard recently came from planes from all over the Gulf Coast coming to Calcasieu Parish for the 9th annual Gulf Coast Fly-In. J.P. Booth explains.
13 planes and 2 helicopters landed at Calcasieu Parish Mosquito Control for the 9th annual Gulf Coast Fly-In. Mosquito control agencies from all over the region came to show off their planes, as well as learn about the newest technologies in defending against the invading mosquito hordes.
Well, today we're hosting what's known as the Gulf Coast Fly-In, where aerial applicators and mosquito control get together and talk about the advancements in technology. They give demonstrations with their aircraft, just really sharing information about aerial applications so that everybody can improve what they do. And it's important to stay up with technology because it's ever changing, and the better technology, the better coverage we'll get.
In addition to the well-known spray trucks, mosquito control agencies, including Calcasieu Parish, use aerial applicators due to their ability to cover large areas in one trip.
To be honest with you, without our aerial application here in Calcasieu Parish, control of mosquitoes would not be possible because we have so much rural area. You've got so much marsh to the south of us, and mosquitoes they don't just breed in an area and stay in an area, they move. So as they move, you have to stay on top of them. The airplanes give you so much broader coverage in much quicker time period. So this is really the backbone of the program, because when we have a mosquito outbreak, you need to get out there fast. If you have a disease outbreak, you need to get out there fast and cover area quickly, and it just gives a much broader application of the insecticides over the areas, and you get much better control with the aircraft. It's a little bit more expensive, so you have to be selective of when and where you use it, but it is the backbone of a mosquito control program, especially where a rural area is concerned.
There are several types of aircraft used in aerial applications, from agricultural crop dusters to helicopters.
You've basically got 3 different types of aircraft here. You've got a single-engine aircraft, and the design more of what you see what crop dusters use, the ag wagons, ag tractors. You also have twin-engine aircraft like we see behind us, the Norman Britain Islander. We have a couple of these here. We've got twin-engine Beechcraft here, and so those are the types of fixed-wing aircraft that are utilized in mosquito control. We've got a couple of helicopters that are utilized. So as a wide array of aircraft that can be used for mosquito control purposes. The helicopters come in because they can actually get into areas and get close in, hover, and you can actually utilize them for inspection too, being able to get into areas where you need a boat or whatever to get into. Sometimes you can't even get to those areas with a boat. So, I mean, you see a variety of aircraft throughout mosquito control at different areas. It just really depends what the needs are of that particular area.
Terracina says the information exchanged between vendors, agencies, and personnel is vital to effective operations.
Well, it's important to share what everybody has done. In other words, we'll do something one way here that is done differently in another area. And by getting together and talking about it, sometimes you can come up with something in the middle that might even be better. Looking at the different technologies, they now have computerized equipment that's utilized that can actually tell you where to spray, that takes into consideration the weight of the insecticide, the airspeed of the aircraft, the wind direction, the wind speed, and it tells you exactly where to apply the material and where it's going to fall. So you're pinpoint your application that much better. So there's so many advancements in technology that are happening that help us. Even the spray equipment itself, the nozzles are better. They break up the particles to a more even size. So all of this stuff is important to share with one another as to what's working, how you're doing it, and the more knowledge we can gain from each other, the better off our program can be.
For the Parish Line, I'm J.P. Booth.
Visit our website at cppj.net for more information on the parish's mosquito control efforts. Hot, dry temperatures are causing fire hazards in southwest Louisiana. CGov's Jessica Conrad informs us on burning laws in Calcasieu Parish.
Summer in southwest Louisiana brings warm, dry weather, which is perfect for outdoor recreation. But the lack of rain and hot temperatures also create conditions that make it easier for fires to spread. That's why it's important to know the laws of burning in Calcasieu Parish.
The parish laws really mirror the state laws that DEQ has talked about. There's some minor variations, but the main objective of the burn laws is to prevent someone from starting accidental fires which may harm other person's property or their health. If you look at the way the laws are structured, you can't burn hazardous materials, you can't burn general waste. For the most part, you can't create a fire that will put smoke onto another person's house or to harm their health. You can't have smoke go across the highways. There are some exemptions for agricultural burning, but again, there are prescribed ways on how that burning needs to be done.
Basically, any vegetative waste that you may accumulate in your yard, raking, small limbs. And as it pertains to Calcasieu Parish, due to the population requirements, on private property of residents, you cannot burn trees unless it's involved with land clearing. If it's a land clearing operation, there's certain things you can and can't do.
While it's legal to burn limbs and other yard waste, you should take some precautions like keeping a water hose nearby. And before you burn, consider the conditions.
The big indicator that you need to look at when you're burning, there's two things really. The wind and the humidity are the big things. In low humidity days, like after a cold front passes through, and when you have high winds like a high south wind or high north wind like we get here a lot, those are not conditions that we'd recommend people burn in. Wind conditions lower than 5 miles an hour probably is safe. And then with any type of fire that you have, it has to be attended the whole time that it's burning. And there is no burning allowed after dark anywhere in the parish.
If you're causing a nuisance and your neighbor happens to call us, we probably would come out and make you quit doing that for that particular day. So it's good to be mindful of what direction the wind's blowing when you burn.
The bonfires are up to the discretion of the local fire department. If they think it's a danger, they can put it out.
And no matter the wind speed or humidity level, there are some things that should never be burned.
Tires, for example, you can't burn tires. You can't burn petroleum products like old paint or gasoline or oil, building materials, roofing materials like shingles. All of that is prohibited under both parish ordinance and state law.
It's not a good idea. You're releasing toxic things in the air, which eventually precipitate down in the rain and could get into the rivers and bayous and streams and maybe even to a water system.
Instead of burning appliances, tires, and other objects that may become hazardous when burned, consider finding places that will recycle them. Many retail stores take on old products through their own recycling programs. And to find out fire weather conditions, go to the National Weather Service website or call your local fire department. For the Parish Line, I'm Jessica Conrad.
Emergency information such as when a burn ban is in effect can be found at the parish website at cppj.net. You're watching the Parish Line, a production of CGov, the Calcasieu Parish Government Channel, about the events, programs, and policies of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. The Calcasieu Workforce Center is giving area youth a helping hand to earn summer employment. The center's second annual youth job fair let prospective Calcasieu Parish employers find eager students looking for a summer job.
We have young people in high school need summer jobs, college students, and some students who are out of school. that need summer jobs. So the purpose of this program is to help them to connect with the employers in the community to get summer employment.
The career that I plan to find my career is to be a pediatrician, and I love kids, so whatever me finding with kids or working with kids, I will accept it. I'm very glad that I came because I see a lot of daycare centers and everything that could help me out.
To get a job that's kind of like fun and good money and stuff. I'd love to work with kids, but I don't know, whatever's kind of available out there.
Attendees had the opportunity to get training in several different skills needed to find employment.
They were taught interviewing skills, how to fill out applications, the proper way to dress and all. So we're very excited about that, too, to offer that to the community.
It's not too late for area youth to find summer employment. Visit the Business and Career Center on 5th Avenue in Lake Charles or get more information on the parish website. The third annual Community Emergency Response Team Conference and Rodeo visited Calcasieu Parish with participants from all over the state. Molly Morgan and Margaret Higgins tag team for this report.
Citizen Corps, uniting communities and preparing the nation. The Louisiana State Citizen Corps Conference and Rodeo was held April 30th and May 1st to train residents in emergency response. Angela Jewett tells us more.
Today we have a really good packed agenda. We have General Honore, who is going to be our guest speaker for lunch. And then we also have Bonnie Hughes, who works for Willis Knighton Hospital, who is doing a speech about motivational speakers volunteers during a disaster. We also have the National FEMA coordinator here that is over the Citizen Corps program. We have David McCoy, who is our FEMA director for Region 6.
There were state and regional representatives on hand to assist the local representatives for CERT and Medical Reserve Corps.
As the state coordinator, I basically manage all of the programs throughout the state, all of our Citizen Corps, CERT groups, Medical Reserve Corps groups.
Well, in Louisiana, we have a really great partnership with our Medical Reserve Corps and our Community Emergency Response Team programs, and they come under the umbrella of the Citizen Corps in Louisiana. And so we see each other as working hand in hand in how we achieve and accomplish goals. And we know that, it's going to be your neighbor that's going to need to help you. So whether or not they're a medical professional or with any other type of training, we want everyone to understand what needs to be done in a disaster.
Effective communication between government and volunteer organizations is vital.
Communication is essential, especially in times of dire need. And so it's really about how we communicate from one person to the next person. And how are we really sending our messages, and how are we listening to messages too? Here's the key piece, is that let's say today is all about coming together as groups. We've got government officials coming together. We've got volunteers for organizations coming together. And really what we're going to visit about is we've got two different filters happening. And in a disaster, we need to make sure that we're on the same page. So I need to understand your filter and you need to understand mine. If I'm maybe a government agency, maybe I'm thinking about policy and procedure and what are the things that are important. If I'm an elected official, I might be thinking about my community and what's happening. And so I've got different filters happening when you're trying to share a message with me. And so we need to really pay attention to that. I think increasing our communication impact will help us communicate in disaster.
A special tribute and award was given during the conference.
One of the things that I've been asked today is to give this Eagle Award to a very important person who's going to be our guest speaker today. It's General Russell L. Honore. He's going to be here today, and we just want to thank him for all the many things that he did during the time of Katrina about 5 years ago, when a lot of hope was lost in the city of New Orleans and here even in Lake Charles, and where it devastated the entire Gulf Coast. And we just want to say to him today that we appreciate all of what he done for us being here and just giving us the attention that we needed when before people was just kind of forgetting all about what had happened here because of all the things that had happened there in New Orleans. So we just want to have him here today and present this to him and tell him how much the people of Calcasieu Parish really appreciate what he did for us.
General Honore encourages everyone to stay informed, especially the citizens in the outlying areas of the parish.
The number one thing for communication for all citizens is to get a weather radio. Because if you can stay informed, you can make the right decisions. And decisions that may require timely response in terms of evacuating or in terms of sheltering in place. Because the more informed the citizens is, it makes the job of the first responders that less worrisome. Because the first responders are going to have to spend their time focusing on the vulnerable population. And you know who I'm talking about, the elderly, the disabled, and the poor who do not have transportation. That's who they're going to have to focus on. So communications has improved. There's room for it to get better. But staying informed by the citizens in the parish is a personal responsibility. And they need to go out and get a weather radio so they can stay informed 24/7. Because as we saw with this oil rig accident, it could happen anytime. And we could be dealing with a disaster of significant proportion. Unlike a hurricane where we get several days to watch it coming, it could be without notice, and it could surprise us, and it could be in the middle of the night. So having that weather radio on where you're in earshot of it is important so the government can get the right information to you at the right time.
A highlight to the conference was BLAST, a unique way to educate children and adults in fire prevention and disaster preparedness.
BLAST is our Bringing Life and Safety Together educational initiative. It started out as a clown program for the sulfur fire prevention. Shortly after Katrina Rita, we wrote a grant to teach disaster preparedness throughout our entire demographic spectrum, from kindergarten to senior citizens. Our curriculum covers specific topics from kindergarten through senior citizen, where we can teach, stop, drop, and roll to younger kids. And as it goes up through middle school, high school, we needed more of an impactful program, more of a relevant message to teach. So that's kind of where we are today, with disaster preparedness being at the forefront of what has fallen on the fire departments to teach the communities. That's where we are. Historically, firefighters have used clowns to teach kids fire prevention because it keeps their attention. What we're doing in middle school, high school, is kind of cutting new ground, which is where the drum systems and all that, which have gotten nationwide recognition. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback from it. And after doing this for 5 years, we have the statistical results to show that the program is effective. I mean, we've increased our performance volume 200%, and in that same time frame, we've seen our structure fire call volume go down nearly 40%.
Learn to be prepared. Disasters are not just major events.
Everyone needs to learn to be prepared and, help their friends and family and be an advocate because it's important. And, to me, a major disaster is if my dad has a heart attack and nobody is around and no CPR. So I think understanding that being prepared for a major disaster will assist you in your everyday little life's disasters because those are more likely to happen. So I think that it all goes hand in hand.
To prepare for a major disaster or life's little disasters, volunteers receive hands-on training. Margaret Higgins explains.
Day 2 of the CERT conference opened with the CERT Rodeo.
On behalf of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury, I would like to thank you for being a part of providing services, assistance, and aids for our fellow men.
Louisiana Citizen Corps Director Chelsea Brown and Regional Coordinator for Medical Reserve Corps Stacy Sayre describes the competition the volunteers participated in.
Basically, the rodeo is just a big competition for all of our parishes to get together and compete and show off their CERT skills and what they know how to do. It involves fire suppression. We have competition in gangplank, which is really fun. It's just team building and walking on planks together. We have cribbing. We also have a lot of things going on around like triage learning. If you're just standing around, you have something to do. It's just team building and just giving us a chance to network and be together because we're, in all different parishes, so it's a really great event.
Well, today is an opportunity for volunteers to practice the skills that they've learned, which is really important because we may or may not have a disaster happen, but we definitely need to practice our skills and also just keep the interest up so that people, want to continue and want to play because, you train and train and train. If you don't use those skills, then you kind of get bored. So that's the importance of this. It's actually a very critical piece of the programs. So the fact that Louisiana does hold a rodeo for its CERT members and Citizen Corps volunteers is actually really progressive and wonderful. So, but where the Medical Reserve Corps volunteers come in is, we just fit in with the group and, a lot of our MRC volunteers have taken the CERT training and so they have the skills that are required to do CERT activities, and so they're assisting with, just like every other CERT member is, but they may or may not have medical skills to to donate to the team as a member.
Working with federal agencies and neighboring states is important during a disaster.
Myself and Chelsea, the State Citizen Corps coordinator here in Louisiana, we work a lot hand in hand. We do the same thing. I'm the same thing she is here in Louisiana and Arkansas. But due to hurricane evacuations and things, I'm not directly impacted in Arkansas, but I'm indirectly impacted because of evacuees and things. And so there comes times when myself and Chelsea are working together because of CERT volunteers and things like that. And so this is a way of a team building where we get to know one another, get to know what each other has to offer. And so when those times of need come that we need one another, we're already familiar with the systems.
We work with all 5 states in our region, Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, of course. We manage the Citizen Corps program at a regional level. We work with our state counterparts like Chelsea Brown here in Louisiana to monitor and track the grant funding that we send out. We also work with private sector entities like, say, your Walmarts, your J.B. Hunts, large companies that want to actually do private sector preparedness on their own terms to make sure they're ready for disasters. We also work with faith-based organizations. We work with our VOADs, or voluntary organizations active in disasters, as well as church groups and such, to make sure their parishioners and their communities are as safe as possible.
Trained volunteers enhance local government agencies before and after a disaster has occurred.
I initially got involved. I was with Office of Public Health, and we had the special needs shelter here in Calcasieu Parish. And then a month later, we had Rita come through, and we had to evacuate. And just seeing all the wonderful volunteers that pitched in and helped really made me want to help and be part of the community and connect in that way.
I've learned there's a lot that we can do. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of slots, if you will, available for people who have either skills or no skills. A lot of things that we can learn that we can help out the community.
I did the vaccine, H1N1 vaccine actually. This was at McNeese Community Clinic, and I'm really happy to be part of that at that time. It was totally new and everyone got the shots for free, so I was really happy being part of this.
You get to learn new things that you never know about, or maybe you knew about, and you get to learn it more and practice it and be master of it, okay? And it's I recommend every citizen in the country and every resident of Lake Charles, Calcasieu Parish, to volunteer. The more we volunteer, the better off we are.
I'd always wanted to volunteer and do something, but I didn't really know how. And I saw a girl one day wearing her Calcasieu Medical Reserve Corps t-shirt, and I asked her about it. And she told me about and I asked her what you had to do to get involved. Oh, you must be medical or something like that. And she told me no, that anybody could go and do it. So she gave me the telephone number for Angela, and I got started right away. Actually, I got signed up, and I've been doing it ever since, and I love it.
When I first got here, guys, to learn all the different areas that the station they had set up and stuff, boys for triage, boys for fire, boys for cribbing, I didn't have an idea as to what those things were, but being out here for the entire day, I learned so much in how you can help your fellow man. And I think that's really what it was all about, bringing people together for one common cause is to work together to help another individual out of a situation that may be life-threatening to them in itself. But I think in the process of what we learned, something we can carry on from days to come and actually to teach someone else down the road as to what it is, procedure of what we've done. So great job, and I encourage anybody who's never had the chance to actually experience this today, please come out and join.
For the Parish Line, I'm Margaret Higgins.
And I'm Molly Morgan.
The Calcasieu Medical Reserve Corps was recently chosen by the Office of Civilian Volunteer Medical Reserve Corps to receive the prestigious Ambassador Award, honoring Medical Reserve Corps units that meet the Surgeon General's priorities, improving health literacy, increasing disease prevention, eliminating health disparities, and improving public health preparedness. The Calcasieu Medical Reserve Corps currently has 400 volunteers, with new members joining weekly. Government officials from across the state attended the Louisiana Urban Stormwater Coalition Conference in Lake Charles to discuss the effectiveness of their permitting program. Due to the Clean Water Act, the Department of Environmental Quality requires that all agencies submit annual reports on the status of their waterways. A representative from DEQ was on hand to talk about the program and discuss what's working and what isn't.
As part of the stormwater permit, they have to do annual reports. So they've requested that someone come and try to give them some guidance on what has to go in the annual reports, what's the correct things, what's the wrong things, and also discuss their management plans, again, what's correct and what's not. There has been very little guidance in the past, So the whole idea is to try to get DEQ as well as the local governments all on the same page as far as what we're looking for.
We administer our stormwater permit for the area. It's an MS4 permit for 3 cities, the city of Sulphur, Lake Charles, and Westlake, and the urbanized area of Calcasieu Parish. So that's from that perspective, the parish has basically sort of some oversight, seeing to that we do all we're supposed to do in our area for our permit.
Louisiana is blessed with a lot of water. We're standing here right by the lake, and that everyone uses these water bodies for recreation. They want to go swimming, they want to go skiing, they want to go fishing. That's what Louisiana's about. And we're blessed with a lot of water. That's a good thing. But on the downside, a lot of our water bodies are not meeting what we call the Clean Water Act goals, which is they aren't swimmable and they aren't fishable. They aren't meeting water quality standards. So in order for us to get to clean water, we need a better roadmap.
It's really not just the city, the parish, or the city. It's really getting everybody to buy in and understand what the goal is. Don't lose sight of the goal, and that's to get the waters clean so everybody can enjoy them and drink it. They don't make any more water.
That conference was in Lake Charles, May 11th. It's always a great story when a stray pet finds a home through our Animal Services Department. Our CGov intern, Zach Oakwind, presents this special dog mail-in story that's even better than usual.
The Calcasieu Parish Animal Services and Adoption Center houses hundreds of dogs at a time, all of which are looking for an owner to love. The selections can be tough because there are so many different, very suitable selections already for those looking to adopt. Then you have the underdog, a dog that desperately needs a miracle and a haircut. Diana Morales of the Calcasieu Parish Animal Services knows a dog that got both.
The dog was picked up as a stray. We did not find the owner, and the idea of the underdog, wonder dog thing was a brainchild of Sally Stride, who does proper pooches, and the Humane Society of Louisiana got in on it and decided they wanted to be a part of it, and they had mentioned it to me, and when I saw this dog, I thought, wow, this is him. We could do this with this dog. And it just sort of snowballed from there. So it was Sally Stride's idea. The dog came in as a stray, and we were searching, fervently to find out who the owner was.
Out of all the dogs in the kennel, this one stood out to everyone at the shelter, including Diana. They could see a diamond in the rough, and they felt compelled to see him through to a good home.
He was just so affectionate. He didn't smell really bad, even though he was so horribly matted. So it was easy to pick him up and love him, and he wanted to cuddle. He was affectionate, and he couldn't put his head down because there were so many mats under his neck, but he just wanted to be affectionate. He was loving, and once you looked in those eyes, you just knew you had to take that and go that extra step to save him.
This underdog went through a grueling process of shaving and clipping the matted hair that he had accumulated over the years. The transformation was astounding. He was actually turning into a dog. Now his chances of finding that home that he needed were going to increase. The word spread out, and he caught the attention of a woman who needed him as much as he needed her. This underdog, who was now referred to as Rounder, had finally found his home.
He happened to be on TV, and he was famous. And we saw him, and my husband came to get him because we had lost our little dog a couple of days before. And since we've had him, he's healed our hearts, and we have a beautiful beagle that we adopted, and it's healed his heart too.
If there was any worry about Rounder not fitting in, Sandy would be the first one to tell you that he is finding his way.
He's adapting well. He's playing with the beagle great. He's eating great. He's a happy dog, you can tell. He's very quiet. He's well behaved. He's house trained. We don't have any kind of problems with him. We love him.
For the Parish Line, I'm Zach Oakwind.
The Animal Services and Adoption Center is always in need of good homes for their animals. Visit them on Swift Plant Road east of Lake Charles. See many of the available animals and get adoption information on our website or call 721-3730. That's the Parish Line for this month. Thanks for watching.